All right, I'd like to,
One moment for the live stream to start.
okay, I got the message. Does that mean it's like?
We're gonna have Megan do the administrative report first. She's got someplace she needs to be.
Kimberly, I'm good for right now. For the next hour or so.
Can't hear Megan.
My sound is all the way up. Josh, can you get someone else to talk?
Hello?
No? Yeah, everybody in this room is muted except for me.
Can you hear me?
So let's see, Megan Conaway, can you turn your mic on and just say hello?
Hello.
I can't hear you. I heard it come off of your speaker, but
Yeah,
I
because I
can't hear it.
can't turn it all the way down.
My speakers aren't working and my camera's off. Chicken.
What if I just turn on my speaker?
You could do that.
All right, let me try turning my speaker on.
No, there's an echo.
You can't turn your sound further.
Mine is.
Yeah, there's,
But I hear the echo.
there is an echo.
Oh, that's it.
You can put it, leave it.
Or do you want to switch the mic to her computer?
You can't. Okay.
I can't hear anyone again.
I can hear you, Tina, but I can't hear anybody else.
I
Yeah,
can
I
hear
think
you
anybody
too,
else is
Tina.
talking. It's the people in the library we can't hear.
It's really quiet. It's not something I'm used to, so I'm taking advantage of this right now.
Just remember that it is being recorded. I don't want the same thing to happen to you that happened when you were at Lansing making that announcement.
Sorry, folks, we're having technical issues.
That's a wrap.
That worked for my battery.
I can hear that.
Go back to the recording.
Jeff's just trying to fix the sound.
Okay, you try to speak to that?
Hi folks, can you hear us?
Didn't see much reaction there.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Oh,
Okay,
somebody
now we
got it.
can hear you guys.
Yeah, cool. And my speaker's not getting anything. Josh. Which is
Well,
fine.
We're
So
gonna go
Pam
through
said-
mine, and I'm going to go get a separate set of speakers so it's louder.
Oh, okay.
So
Go ahead and start the meeting.
The Liberty and-
I couldn't hear that at all. I don't know if anyone else could. I cleaned up, but that was it.
Hannah needs to unmute, I think.
Need to unmute, yeah.
Do I? No, I don't.
try it one more time. Are you able to hear us?
Okay. Sorry, so that was the pledge of allegiance. So we will continue on, approval of minutes, be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board of education for the Central School District hereby approves the Board of Education minutes from 8/10/21 and 8/24/21 as presented. So moved, Diane.
Second, Megan.
Any discussion, edits? No? Any opposed? No. Any abstained? No. All those in favor? So moved, or motion carried. Agenda changes. Think we have any? And did you want to go to?
Nope, Tina refreshed the document, so if you refresh it, we should be all set.
I
Oh, you can't? I'll tell, oh. Tina will tell us where it is.
okay,
New business.
all right. But you did want Megan to go first, right, for administrative report?
Do we have, she said she's good for an hour, so do we have, let's just change the order. Do we have Dick Robertson here from Welliver?
His name is there.
Kimberly, we do have paper here also.
Okay,
Can you hear me, Kimberly?
I can, perfect. Welcome, Dick.
Hi.
So Dick is here this evening to give us an update on our capital project. Go ahead, Dick.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity. And I'm sorry, I think when I opened up, I blocked my camera, but I'm not very pretty and you don't really want to look at me anyway. So the capital project update as stands right now, we'll start with the middle school. All the renovated areas are substantially complete and beneficial occupancy has happened. We've completed the HVAC systems and the balancing is complete. Commissioning is then doing their final inspections and the chillers will be started next week. A couple of remaining things that there's some a permanent window in the main office and a permanent countertop that will be a little bit behind, but they were temporaried in and they're able to use the space. Those will be put in as soon as they come. Technology upgrades in the data closets has been completed, and now they're doing working through tie-ins. Punch list and warranty work will be ongoing as spaces are available to not disrupt the function of the spaces. And that'll be ongoing till all that work is completed and is accepted, as well as any type of warranty things that come up or any user group concerns that come up as they start utilizing these spaces. In the elementary school, work at the main entrance and main office will be ongoing. The exterior work at the main entry will be complete end of next week, and finishes will start next week on the interior areas, which will be complete mid-October. So the main entry and the main office will both be completed in mid-October. All mechanical systems are complete and operating. The new boilers will be started Thursday and Friday of this week. And again, the commissioning company is doing final inspections to make sure that they're satisfied with everything. Area B, the student services area, is complete and being occupied. There is some carpet in there that will have to be changed out. The landscape work will be done and complete next week, weather permitting. And there again, the punch list work and inspections will be happening ongoing through the next, as long as it takes through the next year at the school's convenience, and, you know, not disrupting anything. So nights, weekends, some areas actually can be done while school's in session, but for the most part, we work around your schedule, and when spaces are available for the work, that'll be completed as school goes on. The high school, the new HVAC systems are running, and the operation of and in operation. The boilers will be started up Thursday and Friday, as the same as the other. Commissioning company again is doing their final inspections. The technology upgrades are complete, and the new data closets and connections and tie-ins are continue to be worked on. The main entry canopy needs some final paint on the steel and the new handrail installed. Work is ongoing in the cardio fitness room and will be completed in mid-October. The administrative parking lot reconstruction is complete, and exterior lighting is complete in those. Again, punch list work will continue as long as needed to be completed at the school's convenience. The spaces are available. This summer is kind of the end of the slated project, with the exception of some remaining work. It's been a bit, as you know, everything has been a bit of a challenge with the pandemic and what that's done to the industry and getting some materials, largely to blame for why we're in the position we're in. Material delivery from factory shutdowns and trucking and labor shortages, everything that everybody is experiencing from pandemic has hit this job somewhat, but overall, I think we're in very good shape. I think I heard some pretty good stuff from opening day, and I hope that you guys are happy with what's been done, and I promise you that we will see this through, and very soon we'll be complete with this work. There may be some money remaining in the budget to do some further work. We're monitoring that and talking with Kimberly and company about what that might look like moving forward. Can I answer any questions, or does anybody have any comments they'd like to make?
Does anybody have any questions?
Dick, thank you for that summary. I know we've promised the community in the past some updates on our website, including pictures of our new spaces, especially now that we have reopened and we are still not allowing the general public into our spaces. So it's on our list to do. As you can imagine, we've had many other items that have had to take priority with the reopening of school and implementing all the health and safety standards and such. So I am super excited, especially to showcase those STEAM classrooms. So you'll see more of that in the future.
Very good. And if there's anything more we can do, or we can help with anything, never hesitate to give us a call. Dan McLaughlin, our on-site superintendent, will continue to have a presence to make sure that these last things get wrapped up and tied up. And I wish you all well.
Thank you so much, Dick.
Thank you. Are we going to,
The paper presentation.
okay.
So,
Colleen Falvo.
yep, so next I would like to introduce Colleen Falvo. She is here to do a paper presentation for our community.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here tonight. I'm just going to do a quick introduction of what paper is for your grades 7 to 12 students at Trumansburg Central School District. I'm not going to do a full demo of the presentation, of the platform. I'm just going to show you exactly a general overview of what we do. So we do have 450 licenses at Trumansburg's grades 7 to 12, and we are launching on September 20th. I'm just going to share my screen quickly with you and show you exactly what we do. So we are an ESS. We are an educational support system, and our mission is to deliver educational equity through personalized learning and create a level playing field for all students. So our CEO, Philip Cutler, he was actually a high school teacher that offered private tutoring on the side, and he realized that tutoring wasn't accessible to all students and wanted to make it accessible for all students to bridge that equity gap. So he designed Paper, an online tutoring platform that he could sell to districts in order to bridge that equity gap and make—
Wait 1 minute, Colin. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
There we go.
Sorry about that. Are we good to continue?
Could you come back to, I think the last part that we heard was.
Tutoring is not accessible to all students.
Oh, yeah. No problem. So tutoring is not accessible to all students. So he created Paper, which is an online tutoring platform to sell to districts so that all students could have access to this extra support that they may need. So the Paper experience, what does it look like? We are instant and unlimited 24/7 tutoring support through chat. So it is all text-based. It looks like iMessage, instant messaging, Facebook messaging, just like students are used to, as you can see on the right here. We offer it 24/7, 365, and that is on all holidays at 3 o'clock in the morning whenever students may need it. We offer it in English, French, Spanish, and Mandarin. Mandarin is newer, so it's a little bit less accessible, but we're working on getting it 24/7, and we offer it in over 200 subjects at the moment. We also offer unlimited annotated essay review, so students can upload any piece of written work and have it returned to them within 24 hours with comments and suggestions for things to change, and also positive feedback as well. So that's a great tool to use before submitting it to your teacher. Submit it to Paper, and you'll have a revised version within 24 hours. We are also accessible on any device, so they can use it on their laptop, desktop, iPad. They can even use it on their cell phone. We have a mobile device as well. The best part is that all interactions are recorded and transparent to the school and district. So district managers, administrators, and teachers can really log on and see all of these tutoring sessions and see where there might be knowledge gaps or see where they may need to revisit things in the classroom. We also offer unlimited professional development and support for the teachers and administrators. Who are our educators? The most important part. So our educators are certified to support your community. They are trained to support and apply the Socratic teaching method. So they will never give students an answer. They will always meet students where they are by asking them guiding questions. A lot of students do get frustrated because they just want to log on, get the answer in 2 seconds, but we will not do that. We will really work with the students so that they understand and leave understanding the concept. And all of our educators are Paper employees. So they were hired just as I was hired. You can't log on and say, hey, I want to do 3 hours of tutoring tonight to make a few dollars. You really have to be a Paper employee. They go through an intense interview process, and they're trained for months at a time. So our live help is one-on-one tutoring via chat messenger. Students can send files and screenshots, and they have access to a virtual drawing board where they can go back and forth with the tutor, and teachers can see conversation transcripts on their teacher account. This is what their dashboard looks like. When students log on, they can click on any session or any subject that they'd like to connect with a tutor in about 30 seconds and start that conversation. And to the right here, this is kind of what a conversation looks like. So it's back and forth using diagrams. They can upload files, etc., to the tutor. Our essay review, so our holistic feedback on writing assignments, any length is welcome, and it's all writing material. So it can be essays, personal narratives, lab reports, resume, college applications. It can really be anything. And our tutors also check for plagiarism. Teachers can also see submitted essays and the tutor feedback. So this is what a revised essay looks like. The students will receive comments on their paper. Again, they'll never give them the exact answer. They still use the Socratic learning method when revising an essay. And the tutor will also leave comments at the bottom, generally describing how that the student did. They'll not only leave negative feedback, but they'll leave positive feedback as well. And lastly, what you should know about paper. Again, I just summarized all this, but quickly, we are an ESS and we're there to support your teachers and your students. Students have access to live help and essay review. Our tutors use the Socratic learning method. We're available in 4 languages and tutors have 100% transparency. For those of you that are watching on the live stream, any parents or anything, I am going to show you how students at Trumansburg can log in. They will simply go to paper.co and click log in. And this is a student login page. They will type in the name of their school. So we have both of your sites here for grades 7 to 12. They will click in and they will log in directly through Google SSO. So they don't have to type in any passwords or anything. It'll log in straight through their regular Google accounts and they will be brought to the student dashboard. Well, that's all I have for today. Does anybody have any questions on this call right now?
Questions? Did you say that the tutors receive the material that students are working on?
They do not. So the students will come to the tutor with a question, and then the tutor will ask them guiding questions to understand exactly where they're at in the problem.
Question. Are these tutors or these employees, are they located in the United States or is this outsourced internationally?
So they're not fully all over the world. We're just in Canada and the US. And they're all either getting their undergraduates, graduates. We have a lot of PhD students that work for us and a lot of retired teachers and educators as well.
Are teachers notified if a student uploads an essay, for example? You had said they'll receive a revised essay, but will they be notified that a paper has been reviewed by one of your employees?
So they will not be notified, but a teacher, when a teacher logs on, they have a different view. They have a teacher dashboard, and they will see exactly how many activities that student has completed on our platform. So they'll see whether they're live help sessions or essays. The teacher will see what students have uploaded an essay to our platform. And a lot of teachers will actually incorporate this into their rubrics now. So they'll say, why don't you upload your essay to paper for an extra 1%? I don't know, that's just an example. And it alleviates a lot of work for the teachers as well, because they're getting, I don't know, a revised copy of the work. And like I said, the tutors aren't giving the answers. They're just giving suggestions as a teacher would.
Great. And do teachers ever do teachers in the school itself ever challenge the guidance that's being given by your employees?
No, they haven't really. They're usually really supportive. And like I said, we're never giving the answer. We're just supporting them and I don't know, giving them positive feedback as well. So it's never really a challenge. We've never really had any negative feedback there.
And then lastly, my last question is, how much are we paying for this service per pupil?
Pamela, can you take that one over? I don't deal with the contract stuff.
You know what? I couldn't tell you off the top of my head unless John knows, but
I can look it up. Just take me a second. I've got the contract on my computer.
okay. But I will say, you know, this was a step that we wanted to take using some of the federal money that we got to help support that gap that might be present from students. And so we thought that this was a really good extra that we could put in place that was a support for all students. And it would really kind of level the playing field, and that equity piece was really important to us. So it gives everybody an opportunity to get help at any time, in any class.
Is it a year-long contract?
Yes, right now we're on the year. We wanted to see how this would go if students were using it, what the usage was like, how much the teachers were using it. We wanted to kind of give it a whirl first and see before we did a longer contract with them. And again, I think we're using some of our grant money for this as a way.
We're paying $20,700 for this for 1 year.
20,000 divided by the 800 students or so.
1,043. Oh, no, because it's 712, sorry.
Quick math. Divided by 450 is $46 per child.
That doesn't even cover an hour of tutoring that should go to a tutor. That's just.
And if I could speak up one more time, I've seen tutoring sessions that last 20 minutes, and I've also seen tutoring sessions that last 9 hours long. I've seen students work for 8-9 hours on the platform back and forth. So I will meet with Pam and our district task force every month to go through these sessions, and she can share them all with you all as well.
The nice thing too is that we're going to get some data back. We're going to get some feedback from this as well. So we can figure out like what are kids getting on for, what are they asking for, and when are they getting on, and what courses are they getting on for the most that they need help with. And it's going to give us some really clear information. And then teachers also have the opportunity to use it as a stepping stone. We really like the review process as far as writing goes. We're really focusing on writing this year. So this gives students another opportunity to get feedback from another perspective. They're not getting their work redone for them. They're just getting feedback. So that's something that would happen on a first draft anyway for teachers. So it's a good step for them to get another perspective.
But this is certainly not, the teacher is not going to say, well, you know, turn it in first to paper. I mean, their job is to teach, and how will this data be used to measure teachers? And like, will they be will they look at what questions are asked and say, oh well, the same questions are being asked by the same subject. What will our district be doing with that data, and how will it affect the teachers that are employed here?
We're not evaluating teachers through this system. This is really strictly to give us information to help kids. So I think teachers have access to all of this so that they can see where their students are calling in, what they're needing. So that gives them information so they know what to do in the classroom. And then at the administrative level, the whole district level, we can just see how it's being used, and we can kind of monitor. This is a kind of an experiment right now to see, you know, is this something that kids in Trumansburg would really use, and families too. I mean, sometimes I can't tell you how many times I've had parents say, I don't know how to do that. I can't even help them because I don't know how to do that. So it's also a great opportunity for parents to work with kids on the platform so that they can see what's happening with their learning too. So paper is on their navigation bar in Brightspace. So all they have to do is click on the word paper at the top of their Brightspace classroom, and it takes them right to paper if they need help.
So this is already available to the kids?
It is, it's in there now. We're setting it all up. Students are now getting information from teachers about how do you use this? How do you log on? What are you going to do? So we're live on the 20th. Colleen, is that right?
Yeah, we'll start an official launch on the 20th.
Who is training them then how to use it, Pam?
So the teachers have already had training and they know how to use it. And so now the teachers are going to show the students in the classroom, in the context of the classroom, how that looks and how they might use it at home and how they might use it in the classroom. I mean, if they're in a study hall and they need help and there's not a certified teacher in the classroom, they can get help. So
I just want to go back to Jim's question to explain that it can be used as a teacher tool. So if a teacher looks at their class and they realize at 10 o'clock at night, 5 out of 17 students logged in and those 5 students were all struggling with the same concept, the next day the teacher can use that information in the immediate to change their instruction. So it's not evaluative on our part, it's really a teacher tool, but also a support for students. As Pam said, many times students need help outside of school hours, teachers aren't available at that time, and parents don't always have the skill set to support them, especially for some of the higher level math or science, or we all typically need help with writing. So it's really an incredible resource for our students and our teachers.
Kimberly, thanks for that clarification. Of course, we still have the help hours of our teachers on campus to be helping our students. That
Correct.
This is not replacing what
No.
they do to supplement their.
Nope. Another tool in their toolbox.
Nope.
Thank you, Colleen.
You're welcome. Thank you all. If you guys have any questions, you can always email me. My email is colleen@paper.co. I'm here to support you all throughout this entire partnership. So thank you. Have a great rest of your meeting. Bye-bye.
So that was really good. I think we need to go back to awards and recognitions, maybe.
We don't have any.
Oh, it was on here. Okay, sorry.
There aren't any. It was left on by.
So next is correspondence. So we received email correspondence from community member regarding mask mandates, email correspondence regarding district communication to parents, email from a community member regarding the 2021-2022 district wall calendar that people have received in the last week. So on to, let's see, we did facilities administrators report.
So we'll kick this off this evening. I've asked all the building principals to give us a report on opening day, just to give us some of the highlights, a glimpse into what it was like in their building. And we'll kick this off with Megan from our middle school.
Hi, everyone. So I have to say, after a pretty intense summer of trying to get the building open, it was just so amazing to have our educators in the building, our support staff, and certainly our students. We all needed that energy back in our building for sure. So currently, I'll just give you a couple of highlights. First of all, before I do that, I just really have to pause for a minute and thank our maintenance and our cleaning staff, our counselors, and our support staff. If anyone happened to glance in the middle school at any time or even the outside, you're certainly well aware, as you heard from the presentation, there was a lot happening. It's just so impressive right now to walk through our hallways and see the progress that we made, and know we're going to continue to work on that. So in terms of students in the middle school, we have approximately 299 students. And since July, we had 24 new students register, and 11 of those students returned from homeschool. I'm really proud to say that this is the first year we kicked off having studio art and DDP, which are high school classes. So for our 8th grade students, they have several options now to earn high school credits, including algebra, earth science, and world language choices as well. So right now we have approximately 20 students between DDP and studio art, and I've heard positive feedback from the students so far. We've also rolled out a new schedule. There's been a lot of positive opportunities and certainly some challenges that we're still figuring out, but with our new schedule that we have this year for our 5th and 6th grade students, we now are operating on a 55-minute period for our content area classes rather than 42. And we did stay with a 42-minute schedule for our 7th and 8th grade students. It's allowed for really 2 different schedules. We're staggering transition times between the two different grade levels. We have some really excited students that they're moving to classes this year after students were in pods. And so even though that they're moving multiple floors, every time I check in with students, they seem to be really excited to be going to different teachers in different spaces. So we've also kicked off how great to have fall sports again. So this evening, our campus was quite busy with modified cross-country, varsity cross-country, and then also varsity soccer. So for us currently at the middle school, we have football, boys and girls soccer, and then also cross-country, as I just mentioned. We sent home Chromebooks today. And so we are excited to move forward with our access to Brightspace and other learning platforms. And we also anticipate that lockers will be available for all of our students, hopefully within the next few days. I'm hoping by Thursday, we'll be able to hand over locker combinations to our students. So lots of new things. The building's looking great. Looking forward to our virtual open house, and we'll be sharing more information about that really soon.
Thank you, Megan.
Sure thing.
Thank you.
Next, I know that Jeannie also has an obligation this evening, so if we could have Jeannie Wiggins give a brief update about opening day.
Thank you. It has been an exciting week at the elementary school. Classrooms look absolutely beautiful, and I want to thank Sharon Hubble and her whole team. She has worked so hard, the whole team has, just to get the rooms ready, to get the hallways cleared and clean. It's really been an amazing effort to watch. So big thank you to them. So a couple highlights. Every year our pickup and our drop off procedures are, a little challenging on the first day. So yesterday our lines were a little long, things were taking a little bit longer. And even after one day of families getting used to the procedure and staff dusting off the cobwebs, we were much faster. So all of our students were out of their cars this morning before 8 o'clock, and our buses rolled today before 3 o'clock. So that is a huge difference compared to yesterday. So big thank you to everyone in transportation and all the staff that made that possible, and all the families too. Food service, so breakfast and lunch are a little different this year at the elementary school. So there's been a lot of creative thought and a lot of hard work put into that. Again, we're seeing a lot of improvements just in the last couple days. So we do have students eating in the cafeteria this year, which is very exciting, as well as students eating in the classrooms. So figuring out how to feed people in 2 different areas has been a little bit of a challenge, but big thank you to Vicki Whitaker and her crew for all the work making that happen. We had our first fire drill today that was planned and went very well. The students are always excited for the first one. They're actually usually excited for all of them, to be honest. But it went very well. And finally, just to kind of echo what Megan said, to have the students back in the building and have their energy there, see their bright smiling faces even through the masks is just such a boost for everyone. The teachers and staff had worked so hard to get their rooms ready, especially in the face of construction, that to actually have their doors open and welcome the kids was just such a relief and such an energy boost for all of us. The students are so happy to be back, and I can guarantee you that there are tired kids and tired staff and teachers all over our region right now. They are exhausted. They have been working hard. So it's been a really positive start. Great start to the year.
Thank you, Jeannie.
You're welcome.
And next we'll move it over to Miss Fayan. And Ms. Fayan, if you could talk to us about our high school experience and your experience as a new administrator.
Unmute.
Muted,
Okay, so now I'm on mute. Good afternoon, everyone. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Okay.
It has been an interesting experience. It's my first time in an administrative position and, and being in Trumansburg, but to be quite frank, there's some similarities with what I've experienced before, but there are differences. I will not highlight the differences because there's nothing really bad, it's just different. I have had, to date, I think I have 297 students who are currently with us. I'm trying to remember how many students are new. I know we had 2 more students up to yesterday, 2 new students up to yesterday. So I'm not sure about the total amount at this point, but up to yesterday, I know we had 2 more students coming in. We are committed to block sessions, and our teachers have been the first day was pretty smooth. Only a few students, asking questions about, where their classes were, in terms of the room numbers, new students. But I thought it was pretty good. It went pretty well. I noted too that, we were very quiet, especially after the first 2 sessions. I was like, wow, are we really in school? Normally I'd be hearing some amount of noise. No, my COD students were quiet and they were working because I walked past several different classrooms and they were, engaged with teachers. I must say a big thank you to all the teachers and not just the teachers, but the custodians and everybody else who assisted John King, who, ensured that one area that was a little bit, filled with items that should be surplus, that they were removed and everything was, on Saturday I came here and there were several teachers who were here working, photocopying, putting stuff up on their walls in their rooms. And so I must say a big thank you to them for making our space ready for our students. We are, I think I'm going to use the word lucky because we are not experiencing all of the, the issues that would have, had to be dealt with by middle school or elementary. And so I feel that, we are lucky. I visited the girls' locker room. It was looking really, really good, waiting on the boys' locker room to get to that same level of readiness. I believe that up to STEAM space looking really good. I'm really looking forward to what is going to be coming out of that area. I'm seeing excitement. I'm seeing a lot of work, discussions and, engagement with the teachers and the students and, what they're hoping to achieve from the STEAM space. And I am feeling success even before it has started. I'm going to also go with Megan in terms of the sporting activities that we've been having. We have successes in everything that we've done so far. I'm not counting this afternoon. I know that Nico Potenza is ESPN radio athlete for this week. I know that our varsity girls soccer team would have gone up against Southern Cougar. They would have done pretty well, 9-0. I know that the boys soccer team would have scored 6-0 against Watkins Glen's, against Odessa Montour 7-0. I must highlight Xander Dawson and Allison Lewis, who have been accepted in the New York State all-performing ensemble. Xander in the mixed chorus and symphonic band, and Allison in the alternate. There's a lot. There's really a whole lot. And this has really made my first week officially, one that would have made me very proud to be a part of Trumansburg. Thank you.
Thank you, Fayanne. And I'm just delighted to say that Fayanne's smile does not stop. Doesn't matter the challenge in front of her. She continues to smile and take everything head on. So welcome aboard, Fayanne. You've been great and instrumental to a safe reopening for our high school students. I'll just wrap this up by saying and echoing what all the other administrators have already said. If you could have seen the inside of some of our buildings, even this past Friday, you would have questioned how on earth will they open the doors to our students on Monday? So anyone that's ever lived through a home remodel project, think back to that time when the project was finishing up and items were displaced and you didn't know what was in what box or which room it had been placed in. And then imagine doing that across the entire building. So we had teachers and cleaners and secretaries and principals, and everyone did something outside of their own role. Everybody carried furniture, everybody emptied boxes, everybody hustled to pull this off. And so a huge amount of gratitude. On Friday afternoon, we, with John King's help, persuaded the varsity boys soccer team to go to the middle school and rescue them. And so in about 45 minutes, they cleared it out. They got rid of boxes. Go ahead, Megan.
I just had to say, Kimberly, it was less than 15 minutes.
Oh, okay, even better. So, it really does take a village, and I couldn't be more proud. Again, everyone has pitched in and helped out in all different areas, and never once did I hear someone say, that's not my job, that's not my responsibility. And so I just have so much pride as we open for 100% in person this fall to think that we all did that because we care so deeply about our students and the experience that they have and the successes we wish for them to build. So congratulations to our entire school community. Your classrooms look fantastic. The hallways look fantastic. Food service is getting through those hiccups to make sure all of our students are fed. Transportation is also working out some wrinkles, but to say that everyone has worked hard is very much an understatement. So thank you to you all, and I look forward to a successful year, 100% in person all year long. That's my goal. In addition to that, you can see from your agenda some items from our strategic planning. And so I want to thank Pam for creating the visuals for us. If you could take the opportunity, I'll try to share the screen. One of the items that I really like, let's see if this works. I see that. Yep. Okay. So these are the strategic parameters for our work. So you'll see on the website, if they're not there already, they will be in the next day or so, the guiding documents that we will be unveiling at the next faculty meeting in each of the buildings. And so I won't take the time to read all of these to you, but it was a large amount of work by a committed group of individuals across all constituent groups to arrive at these guiding documents. And we will be creating posters and posting them throughout our buildings. And this is what will frame and shape our work in the years to come. In addition to this, the administrative team will also be working on those actionable items that are measurable. I know Pam has already worked with program coordinators and shared some of these documents with them. And I believe that the program coordinators were happy with the outcome, however, skeptical, right? And so we know that the real work that lies ahead of us is in those actionable items that are truly measurable. So these are the documents that will hold us accountable in our future work. And so I would encourage the public to take the time to look at these documents on our website. And then in addition to that, be very frequent our website often, because that's where any change in opening guidance or CDC or local Department of Health, as you all know, things have changed, 72 hours ago. So I would encourage you all, if you have any questions, look there first. If you can't find your answers there, reach out to a building administrator or myself. We want to make sure you have the right information to work with to keep your child safe and to move forward for a successful school year.
Really, I posted all 3 of those documents on the website today.
Thank you.
Where can we find those?
They're right on the front page of the website, right under the top banner.
Perfect. Thank you for doing that, Pam. Okay, and one other piece of information, thank you, Tina just reminded me. Another huge piece of business, as many of you know, the state has mandated that school districts screen or make available to employees that choose not to opt out by showing proof of vaccination a COVID screening test, and we are required to do that weekly. Unfortunately, the state neglected to share the details behind how to make that happen for school districts. So we're very fortunate. We had ordered tests last year. So we have the 15-minute screeners, and I'm very pleased to report that we have approximately 30 of our employees across bargaining units that are not vaccinated at this time. And we have a total count of 243 employees in the district. So if you do the math on that, we really have very few individuals that are not vaccinated. Last Friday, we ran a clinic in the district office and we tested those individuals that are not yet vaccinated. And I'm happy to report that they were all negative. So we will continue to do that each week. However, we will be looking for a better way to do that. It's not really efficient to do that in the district office. So we're exploring with other school districts, and I'm working with the regional BOCEs to see what the best opportunity is to do that collectively, to take the burden off each of our school districts in doing that. But the information is very important to share with the public, and I think it's a step in the right direction to ensure the safety of everyone, both our staff and our students. Questions for me?
Do our rates have to be reported to the state? I know that the state on their website, they have a way to check on school districts.
Yep. So we're doing the same reporting that we did last year, where we report the number of students that are in person, the number of positive students, the number of positive adults. So that format and reporting is the exact same as it was last year. Right now, I do not have the information on how screening of unvaccinated individuals is reported.
Okay, thank you.
Kimberly, do you have any insight on out of the 30 employees, if these individuals plan on being vaccinated or plan to remain unvaccinated?
I don't necessarily have that information. I definitely know that there are some circumstances in which there's a medical reason for not having vaccination, but again, that's the individual's private information, and I don't necessarily need to know that. I just have to make sure I document that those individuals are in fact negative each week. Any other questions?
I did have a question about the opening. I read the belonging statement and I watched the Brene Brown video this afternoon. They're both really fantastic. And I was wondering how this, in terms of your strategic planning and mission moving forward, how this overlaps with the CRT stuff from Dr. Holly last year. And the continuation of that.
So great question. We actually had an administrative conversation the other day because we recognize that we're tapping the capacity of all of our educators at this time, especially welcoming everyone back on campus, having a capital project, and the interference that can play in their daily planning and the relocation of various teachers. And so we've stepped back a little bit. We recognize that last school year, we kicked the year off with Dr. Holly, and being remote was really not quite the same experience that we had hoped. And then of course we moved forward and we were only able to tap into that just a little bit on conference days. So we have decided that we're reaching out to Dr. Holly. We have him tentatively scheduled for November 1st, our next conference day. And we need almost a repeat of what we did the previous year. So we can get everybody on the same page and do a start over. And then we're going to speak with him about coming back to us in the spring. He does have, is it called a notebook study, Pam, that he has asked our teachers to work on. However, we recognize we have very limited time. We can't possibly ask them to do that independently on their own, in addition to everything else they're doing. So we are hopeful that he can work with us twice on conference days this school year. And then we'll offer professional development next summer with Dr. Holly and his work, and then start off the next school year a little bit stronger with that background. In the interim, Brene Brown's work is absolutely about culture and inclusivity, And I would encourage folks to watch her video and look at those materials that we posted on the website. So it definitely complements the work of Dr. Holly.
Thank you.
Pam, anything you want to add to that?
No, you said that beautifully.
Thank you.
I think it does touch on culturally responsive teaching, social emotional wellness, and all of the pieces are all wrapped up in that in a very deep way. And so we're looking forward to being able to have conversations as a faculty about those ideas and how do we make our spaces of belonging for everybody.
So the book study, really the emphasis will be on Monday afternoons because we did add a half hour to our contractual time. So Pam is leading that work every Monday. And then the Dr. Holly piece will also be supported, but in greater depth on conference days. And then of course in the summer.
Great, thank you so much. Does anybody else have any questions? Great, on to consent agenda. If anyone, does anybody have any questions on any of number 10 items? I would like to take them all together, if possible. So 10A through K.
Yeah, I just had one question.
We can take it out.
It was F.
There's L too, Joanna. At least maybe I'm looking at the wrong.
L. I don't have an L.
That was is that the IT position that's been
Taking
added?
out F is appointments for extracurricular. Is that one?
Yes, and then L.
An L.
There is no L.
Number 10.
Oh, maybe I'm looking at, yep, sorry, I'm looking at 11.
Okay.
Apologize.
So just F. Okay, so may I have a motion to pass 10A through E and G through K?
So, second.
Second, Megan.
Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Any abstained? None. Motion carried. Item 10F. Appointment for extracurricular staff, be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education for the Trumansburg Central School District hereby approves the extracurricular staff appointments contingent upon the successful completion of the fingerprint process and successful completion of the necessary requirements for coaching certification as presented. May I have a motion?
So,
Diane. And a second.
second, Becky.
Discussion.
My question is just the use of the word value here on the far right column next to the dollar amounts in positions where we have where we're paying people, compensation as total. And I'm just wondering the use of the word value and maybe we could get some clarification on, is this a value or is this actually?
It's a value because it's a stipend.
And so can, in the future, could that value be named stipend? Because it looks like it just seems like the value rather than the actual expense.
Is that what you would like it changed to?
Yeah.
Okay.
So stipend instead of value.
Sure.
I think it was previously, Tina, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe it was stated as value because that's the value of that particular stipend.
Correct.
Okay.
Does that make sense for everybody here? That it would be just listed, like, for my ridiculous.
Never again.
Is that a motion, Diane?
Thanks for pointing it out, Jim. Anything else? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Any abstain? None. Motion carried. So on to new business. Oh, okay. Approval of the 2021-2022 private school transportation request. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education for the Trumansburg Central School District hereby approves the 2021-2022 private school transportation request for 6302 Quad Lane, Trumansburg. So second. Second. Any discussion? So usually we have the list, so we only have one student that we're transporting.
It was a late submittal.
Okay. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Abstain? None. Carried. Approval of New York State and local retirement system standard work days for Trumansburg Central School District support staff employees. Be it resolved that the Board of Education for the Trumansburg Central School District, location code 75000, hereby establishes the following as standard work days for its employees and will report days worked to the New York State and local employee retirement system based on the timekeeping system or the record of activities maintained and submitted by these members to the clerk of the body. So there are several listed, and these have all been updated.
Yes, that's correct. So I had asked for some clarification. So some of you may know, there are some positions on here that may say 7 hours, but we may have an employee appointed to that position that actually works 8, or in the case of bus drivers, it says the standard work hours are 6, and many of them work 3.5. So that's really the basis that gets the base hours that get reported to the state. So for example, if a bus driver works less than 6 hours, it's considered part-time.
And so that's what it takes for them to get a day of retirement credit, correct? Is
I
that,
believe
is that
that
what they're
is how
saying?
it works. Is that your understanding as well, Tina?
That is correct.
Okay, so our bus drivers then, they work 3 hours, 4 hours, they get a half day of, technically a half day of retirement.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, may I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second.
Second, Megan.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Abstain? None. Carried. Acceptance of donation. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education for the Trumansburg Central School District hereby accepts the donation of $100 from Timothy and Donna Lynch to the Food Service Department in memory of Archie Murphy. May I have a motion? And a second.
Second, Dana.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? None. Abstain? None. Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Thank you.
Thank you to Timothy and Donna Lynch.
Yep.
Acceptance of donation. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education for the Trumansburg Central School District hereby accepts the donation of $50 from Calvin and Joan Organ to Truce Yearbook in memory of Archie Multi. So moved. Second. Thank you. Any discussion? And all those in favor? None. Opposed? None. Abstain? None. Acceptance of donation.
Thank you to them.
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education for the Trumansburg Central School District hereby accepts the donation of $100 from Christina Gasson to Truce Yearbook in memory of Archie Mealty.
So moved. Second, Dana.
Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed?
Thank you again.
Abstain? No. Thank you so much. Oh, one more. Okay. Acceptance of donation. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education for the Trumansburg Central School District hereby accepts the donation of $100 from Linda O'Leary to the Food Service Department in memory of Archie Mealty. May I have a motion? So moved. And a second.
Randy?
All those in favor? Opposed?
Thank you again.
None. Abstain? None.
I'd just like to say thank you, and Jim, our condolences to you and your family.
It just shows like how much this community really loved your father to be able to donate in his memory. It's very beautiful. NISBA Legislative Liaison. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education for the Trumansburg Central School District hereby appoints someone as NISBA Legislative Liaison at a rate of NA for the 2021-2022 school year. So I think this was something that we've kind of put off for a little while. So would anybody like to volunteer? So I can put your name for this motion. So does anybody remember what?
I
what
do
this is?
remember, and I have an interest. I just don't know. I'm having a conflict with my daytime hours. I'm not available during the day, so I don't know what the meeting times are. I definitely haven't. I don't know what the.
Could there be an alternate for that, or does that not work? Like if Dana couldn't show?
Yeah, I just don't know what their meetings are.
So I'm trying to think of when the last meeting was. It's like meetings with other, county or
Right.
the legislative branch for New York State and things like that, but I don't know if that's during a weekday, which is, I think that's more.
I think it's a conflict for me to.
Do we know how often they meet with anything about their schedule?
The last time I saw it was like a quarterly type of meeting with legislative representatives.
I can read pieces off of the flyer if you want, if that's helpful.
Yes, please.
Okay. The flyer that we received about the position had a few FAQs on it. Asked if there's an ideal candidate for this position. The answer, of course, is no. We encourage all types of board members to join the program. No prior experience is needed, just enthusiasm for advocating for your board and NISBA. Many first-term board members find it to be a great way to learn about NISBA and our legislative priorities. Long-term board members appreciate the opportunity to get involved in a new way. Another question, is this position the same as the voting delegate? While it is not required, we do recommend that the advocacy liaisons also serve as voting delegates. Our advocacy positions are discussed and voted on during the annual business meeting. Serving as both voting delegate and advocacy liaison allows individuals to be involved in the various stages of the NISBA advocacy process. What is the time commitment for this position? Advocacy can move very quickly. So it is essential that the Governmental Relations Department to have a dedicated group of members to call on. The Advocacy Liaison Program is designed to use advocacy liaisons as a point of contact for governmental relations. School board members already volunteer their time in their current positions. With this in mind, we have created this program to take as much time as you are able to give. We do not have any requirements for attending lobby days or other events. We only expect those taking on the role of advocacy liaison to pass along important information regarding NYSBA's advocacy efforts to their fellow board members. Is that helpful?
It's a little vague there, Tina.
I think in the past, we did have some people travel to Albany on lobby days. People that were interested in that. I don't think we've had anybody really doing those kinds of relations for like the past 3 years.
Correct.
So since Douglas was our last person.
Who was Douglas? Yeah.
So.
And we did not appoint anyone last year.
So I guess at the very minimum, not to say that I'd be able to attend any of those meetings, but I will volunteer for the legislative liaison.
Congratulations.
So may I have a
put a name on
motion for Joanna Haynes to be NYSBA legislative liaison?
Second.
Third, fourth, fifth.
Okay, who was first and second?
Yeah, great.
Opposed, none. So that was Jim and Megan.
It was a chorus of
It was everything.
nominations.
Like, just move on. Authorization for the district treasurer to transfer funds. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education for the Trumansburg Central School District hereby authorizes the district treasurer to transfer $138,448 from the general fund to the vehicle and equipment reserve. May I have a motion?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? None. Abstained? None.
Were we gonna hear just a little bit of something from you, Jen?
I was just.
Oh, sorry.
Questions, but yes.
Discussion.
Actually, a little shocked
I was
just
just saying,
now.
wait a second.
Nobody asked me.
She got so frazzled by the nomination to the committee.
Well, I asked if there were questions.
So we'll go back to the discussion part and we'll have John give you a little insight to this.
Yeah, it's just brief. This is a pretty conservative amount to transfer out. You know, there's two variables that I've been kind of working with. One is the percentage that we can carry over from last year into this year, which is the rules say you're supposed to not go over 4%, but most districts are anywhere between 5 and 6%, just to be safe in terms of fund balance. And so we're carrying about $187,000 in carryover encumbrances from last year. As all of us know, COVID has put delays on a lot of very random things, like you just can't get certain materials. So there's things that we've ordered last year, encumbered money for, placed orders for, and those things still haven't arrived yet. And so we still have some purchase orders to close out from last year. So we're still carrying money for that. But when you take out those carryover encumbrances, when you take out the amount of money that is, you know, where we want to be, which is a little over 5% is where we kind of landed in terms of carrying over fund balance. I reviewed this with Kimberly. We went through all the variables and basically we just felt like this was a safe amount to transfer into reserves so that we could protect the fund balance, but also putting it in a place that's important and where we're going to have need. As far as why the vehicle reserve, honestly, it's because that reserve is dwindled down to about $3,000. So the amount that we're transferring in will give us a good starting point if we decide we need to purchase a bus, and we will not have to borrow next year if we get to that point in our replacement cycle where we need to purchase another bus. So safe, conservative.
So good investment of taxpayer funds. I think we've only in my 11 years here borrowed for buses once. And like any good consumer, you know, if you're buying your own vehicle and you can save up and pay cash for that vehicle, that makes a whole lot more fiscal sense than if you're borrowing. So the same is true when we do these large purchases for school buses, or you've seen a couple of the new pickups that we have for the district that we're desperately in need of being replaced. So as we move forward, it's important to make good fiscal decisions. And so this money is left over from last fiscal. And so we need to reinvest that and do it wisely.
Thank you.
All those in favor? Opposed? None. Abstained? None. Carried. Approval to increase food service helper position by 1 FTE. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education for the Trumansburg Central School District approves the increase of food service helper position by 1 FTE effective September 1, 2021. This position will be applied to the terms provided in the current support staff agreement. Discussion.
Just briefly, this allows us to get to 3 consistent people in each building. And that with everyone back and providing food, and on top of that, the COVID restrictions and timing lunches and lunch deliveries, it's a fairly complicated process, more so than when every kid is in the cafeteria and everybody's going through the line. It's a little bit more complicated, and this will help us to make sure everybody's getting fed well.
And Tina, correct me if I'm mistaken. I believe this is also a position that we had a resignation last school year that we did not fill. So we abolished it then, but we're just really bringing it back.
We did that already. This is an addition.
Okay. Thank you.
Who seconded this resolution?
Yeah,
Jim.
I do have a question.
Thank you.
So it says 1 FTE, but if this is the position that's currently listed on our website, it says a 4-hour per day position. Is that 1 full-time position for food service helper 4 hours?
Yes. The actual hours per day, we have some flexibility, but that's where we're starting right now. Because they come in early, help get the breakfast going. Depending, they stagger. I know Rose has hours staggered so that there's support beforehand to get breakfast ready, and then at the end of the day to do cleanup after the lunch hour. So the people that are there are staggered. But during the heat of serving, there's 3 people in each building.
But a 1.0 FTE in food service helper, that is very different than 1 FTE, let's say as a teacher,
Right.
would be like 8 hours or something.
Yeah.
All those in favor? Opposed? None. Abstained? None. Approval to increase school monitor position by 2.0 FTE. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education for the Trumansburg Central School District approves the increase of school monitor positions by 2 FTE effective September 1, 2021. This position will be applied to the terms provided in the current support staff agreement. So moved. Second. Discussion. Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? None. Abstained? None. Carried. Abolishment of vacant position. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education for the Trumansburg Central School District hereby abolishes the following vacant position effective August 31st, 2021. Teacher's aide. Second. That's Diane and Dana. Discussion?
What's the difference, Kimberly, between that and the monitor that we just hired?
So the aide is an old civil service title. And so someone that had been here with longevity has since resigned. And so the replacement is actually now school monitor.
Okay, so similar position, new name under.
Very true.
There's a little bit more flexibility.
There is. School monitor, it can ride a bus.
Right.
Teacher aide cannot.
Thank you.
All those in favor? Opposed? None, abstained. Carried.
Do you want to do
And then I
Tina to
have
read
the-
now?
Yep, I have it. This is L. 11L, new business, approval to create a school information system specialist position at 1 FTE. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education for the Trumansburg Central School District hereby approves the creation of a school information system specialist position at 1 FTE at 7.5 hours per day, created in alignment with the 12-month employee calendar. This position will be applied to the terms provided in the current support staff agreement and annual salary to be negotiated and agreed upon in separate memorandum of agreement between TCSD and the SSA.
So
Second, Jim.
Discussion.
So this is the position that we had previously discussed in adding to our IT department. And as you read in that language, we're still working with the support staff agreement to finalize this position title and the salary. However, board meetings tend to be a month apart. So I did let the support staff unit know that I wish to bring this position forward this evening. However, I still will need their approval to add it to that contract. But as we stated before, IT has expanded tenfold over the last year and a half, if not more. And so we're recognizing that the void in that department is that we need someone to manage all the platforms. So Brightspace and IXL and paper and all of those instructional
Zoom at the
platforms.
board meetings.
And we need one person to do that as we're spreading the IT department far too thin. As you know, every teacher, every student has a device. Josh has been working with his team, pulling wires from every corner of this district, supporting the capital project. So there's just really not enough of them to keep us up and running and manage all of the software and platforms that we've added, especially in the last year and a half. Want to add anything to that, Josh?
So is this a higher level position than some of the other IT positions that we've added?
I'll let Josh explain that.
It'd be the same level. To go a higher level, it would essentially be putting someone between myself and my team. And when you have a team of 4 guys and then myself, you don't really need a middle.
Mhm.
And so this would be a kind of a parallel skill set with training coming up through. It's just as you go into information systems, you tend to have that desire to work in platforms and as opposed to moving out towards like Vantex, you're out working with devices and wires coming from the walls and the network as a whole in terms of operations. So they would come from similar backgrounds.
Is that a civil service position? Okay.
Correct.
And it's competitive.
Okay.
It also, just as a reminder, if you recall from our last meeting, the add-on meeting, this is something that is addressed in the ARP grant.
That's what I was just.
So it's funded through the grant and it's paid for, it would be paid for 3 years through that grant.
Okay.
However, we are not looking at it as being a 3-year position. We've leveraged the funding for 3 years, and beyond that, the district would assume the funding for that position.
Thank you.
Thank you. All those in favor? Any opposed? Abstain? None. Carried. Thank you. So that was the last item. So now we will move on to a public forum. It is the privilege of the floor. We have had 2 pre-registered individuals to speak to the board. So I will ask for Maureen Shalash.
Yes, I'm here. Here. Thank you. I appreciate the ability to speak with you tonight. I wrote some comments down so I could stay within my 3 minutes. Tonight's agenda opens with a statement from the Board of Ed that you are only a decision-making board when convened. And I add that is when a quorum is present, not necessarily 7 members. Therefore, it seems most appropriate that community members should be given the opportunity to share comments and ideas when you are convened. It is even more important that that opportunity be provided at the beginning of a meeting prior to voting on resolutions. Over the years, times have been restricted, and when boards, or I shouldn't say restricted, they have changed when boards routinely met twice a month. The calendar that was printed and sent this week states that our board currently meets twice a month, which is not accurate until it comes to budget time. Parents are restricted from being present in the school, and this is an opportunity for them at a board meeting to be able to address the board with their concerns. The agendas are posted just hours prior to the meeting and altered as the asterisk indicates. This does not allow much time for busy parents and community members to digest, become informed, and be able to communicate with the Board of Ed or administrators prior to the meeting. I may be the exception to that ideology, as Kimberly and Tina are most generous with their time in responding to my emails that I send during the day. Recent agendas have included items such as district safety plan, the LEA ARP ESSR application. That regulation requires public input. The plan was to be drafted prior to the application and required meaningful consultation with stakeholders and to give the public an opportunity to provide input. That did not occur at the special meeting in August. I asked the Board of Ed to revert to the agenda format that existed prior to COVID's virtual meetings, and to include 2 privileges of the floor, one at the beginning to allow comment prior to voting, and another at the end to comment about other topics presented and discussed. Other districts and municipalities have done just that, promoting the I for inclusion in the DEI policies that have been adopted. With other items of concern, I thank you, Johanna, for taking on that responsibility of being the NYSBA liaison. That's a very important role that Douglas had filled for many years, and it deserves respect for what you are doing. At a recent meeting, Kimberly Bell suggested that community members that were concerned about the vaccination of staff contact their legislators or representatives in Albany if they wish to promote changes or regulations regarding those vaccinations. I doubt that the voice of an individual or even a number of individuals would have the same impact as that of a NYSBA-supported proposition. School Board of Ed members were elected to represent their constituents and should engage in an advocacy that they can come to consensus after board deliberation. You state that these are business meetings and there should be more engaging discussion about your decisions. This year's convention resolution book for NYSBA includes resolutions that covered topics recently presented at your Board of Ed meetings. 2 of those are tax exemptions for individual properties and mandates for vaccinations. I'm wondering if anyone on the Board of Ed engaged in this discussion with NYSBA concerning these. I greatly respect the time and commitment that you all give and understand how challenging it is, as I had done this for a number of years myself. I thank you for your time and would ask that you really give great consideration, as I have heard from other community members about their concern for lack of ability to address the board in public. Thank you.
Thank you, Maureen.
Thank you, Maureen. And now Tanya Grove.
Hi, all. First, I just want to say, Maureen, thank you as well, because you've addressed some of the things that I also wanted to bring forward. First, I want to congratulate our soccer team. They won this evening against Newfield, so their undefeated season remains. So I just want to give props to them. And a couple other things that I wanted to talk about were also around the soccer team. I appreciate that the school applauded them for stepping up and helping out in the middle school with moving furniture and tables and chairs and carrying them downstairs. As a parent of one of those students, I'm disappointed that the school pulled them from practice to do so and used a position of power and authority. So the students weren't asked to volunteer to come forward and help. Someone in authority said, could you do this for us? And so what is their ability to say no? I don't know that it was safe for the students to do that. I don't think it was fair to ask them to do that. So I wanted to bring that forward to the board. That's union work. It's work that paid employees should be doing. It's one thing if you put out a call to ask them to, if you're willing to give your time, it's another to pull them from practice. So I just wanted to put that out there. I also want to ask for an update on the soccer practice field. As I was out there watching the game today, there was a soccer field that much work was done on that now looks like a weed field. I'm not sure what the status of that is, but there is some sort of sandbag type of thing on the ground covered in weeds right behind the bleachers. It's a trip hazard. Someone can fall and get injured on school property. So I'd love to hear at some point from someone what can be done about that. And lastly, I would like to ask why Trumansburg School District for the board members that there is no way to contact board members directly. I've looked at Ithaca School District, Newfield, Lansing, Dryden. All of them have clearly on their website an email contact directly for board members, for each individual board member, and or a phone number. And we don't have that in Trumansburg. Any comment or question has to go through the district clerk office. So if you have concerns about the administration of the school, there is no way to directly speak to a member of the board. And so I'm very concerned about that. I'd like to ask the board to consider why they're not available other than in this once a month meeting or through district office channels. And then lastly, I'm curious to know when board committee meetings are happening. As I'm looking on the website, all of the committees with the exception of the audit committee says TBD 2021, 2022. So I'm wondering when those committee meetings will start. There's information that says community members are welcome and it's hard to attend if you don't know when they are. Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy.
Thank you. I don't know if there's anybody else on, but. All right, so we will move on to board forum. So anything that the board would like to discuss?
Yes, actually, Tina has prepared the committee meeting dates to be shared with the board. And so we would like to dates in front of you this evening and see if these times and suggested dates will work. The thought is at each of the first committee meetings, the individuals assigned to those committee meetings will then look at the purpose of that committee and decide if in fact we should meet more frequently than that. So things always worked well in the past if we have those committee meetings on the same date and time, again, so the public can plan for that. We do post them on the website, but also for the individuals at the district that are involved. For example, if the AD is coming to those meetings, she can plan to be in attendance on that, whatever date we chose. So Tina, I'm not sure how you want to share those, if you have a document you want to share, if you just want to give the dates.
I think she shared them earlier.
Okay.
She sent them to everyone earlier.
I had a chance to review it.
Yeah, I need to review it also. There's some conflicts that I have for some of these dates.
Okay.
I have conflicts with all daytime dates. So
Okay.
I don't know how to resolve
Which
that.
committees are you on, Dana?
Community engagement, which I have to wonder if the community doesn't have conflicts with daytime dates. And curriculum and instruction, and I think the CSE one, which is the only one after 5. Is fine.
So
I think we've made accommodations in the past where we've met before board meetings. That might be, with that.
That's
helpful.
Yeah, and like 3:30 on is really, and I just don't have any leave time, and I couldn't even begin to commit based on what.
So right now we have community engagement scheduled for, it meets quarterly. And we had it scheduled from 9 a.m. to 10, but we could move that to, and it's the first Friday of each month. So we could, or of those, in those quarters. So I don't know if the other members are able to meet at a 3:30.
Well, Kimberly, quarterly would apply 4 times, right? It's one per term.
I'm sorry, you're right, it's only 3 times here.
And I think that, that it would be nice for some of these committees that are listed at the bottom to meet more frequently. Maybe that's something that will be established after our first meeting.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Yeah, maybe we should try to at least get the first meeting scheduled and then in that meeting figure out when we can, because otherwise
Agreed.
we're gonna be here for hours trying to figure out who can meet when.
Yeah, for sure. So we have the first meeting for policy on September 29th from 2 to 4. Can we start with that one?
I think in the past, we've had people email Tina to accommodate. their
Okay.
schedule, so.
I
Tina,
have
is
no
that all right to
conflicts
do?
with what's on, what I saw for myself.
And I did email her, I can be very specific about this.
I think it's easier if you look at your calendars here because it's hard, once an email chain starts going, it's hard for me to figure out who's available and who's not available.
Polls. Which one would everybody pick times like it's better or worse?
Do these meetings have to be during the school day? Because I think the
No.
majority of the trustees do have day jobs, that it's hard for us to take time from our
Sure.
day. Can we suggest a different time, after school time that would work?
Yes, you can.
Does it depend, can we go through committee by committee, like who's on? And just, like I'm on athletics and transportation and I don't have a conflict with the meetings that are scheduled.
And I don't have any
I can't
conflicts
do
with it.
Tuesdays at all for athletics or health and safety. So, yeah. Just Tuesdays.
Can you do a different day at the same time?
I can't do Tuesdays at that time.
But just,
at either of the times.
but during the day is okay as long as it's not Tuesday.
Yeah. If we can do it virtually.
You could always join virtually and other people could be in person.
Is that an opportunity?
Absolutely, I just can't do those Tuesdays. Yeah.
So that's what I was gonna ask, if these meetings would be scheduled virtually to limit. Okay. During school hours.
I can set them up however you prefer.
Should we move athletics to that Wednesday at 10:30 then? I just go right from one meeting to the next.
I can do athletics Wednesday at 10:30, yeah.
Wednesday's what day?
We
29th?
have transportation on the 27th. Oh, wait, no, I'm looking at on the 29th, yes. So we would just go from the transportation meeting to the athletics meeting.
Yeah, and the reason why those times were chosen, but we can flex it to accommodate board members, is that John and I already have standing meeting with transportation and facilities. And so we know that works in their schedules, but we can certainly change that.
Transportation is good. It would be moving athletics to the Wednesday after transportation.
So it would be 3 meetings in a row.
They go to facilities is before transportation, and I'm on that one. Yeah. And actually that one day, I think I have a dentist appointment right after that too, so.
So this is looking like it's not working.
Yeah. So transportation goes from 9 to 10? Is that what it is?
Correct.
Okay, so then we're suggesting 10 to 11 for athletics.
Yes, so you'd meet on a Wednesday morning. The first one is the 29th. You'd meet from 8 to 9 in facilities. You'd
Yeah.
meet from 9 to 10 in transportation, and then you'd meet from 10 to 11 in athletics on Wednesday. Does that work?
Well, if it'll work for everybody else, I can make it work. I'll have to leave early so I can get to the dentist, but I can do it.
So we'll start with
On
those.
on those same Wednesdays, we have policy from 2 to 4. Is that still okay?
I think there's something else from 2 to 4 that day too, isn't it?
Are you on policy too, Randy?
No, not policy.
No, there's nothing scheduled, in terms of board committees on the 29th from 2 to 4.
It's,
Okay.
2 to 4 is a really wonky time for
Anyone with kids.
anybody who works.
Okay, you want to do a
Who's on the
4 to
policy committee here?
6 or?
So did we, facilities, transportation and athletics, we have times for, is that correct? Those
Correct.
are all out of the way. Okay.
Those seem to be set, yes. So policy, if, I don't know if you guys want to have that still on the same day, but make it from 4 to 6 or
Who's in
3 to
policy?
5 or what you want to do there.
Who else is on policy?
Policy committee is Jim, Joanna, Kimberly.
Okay, so we could do it during lunchtime or something during the day, because maybe we could find, is there time during the day to join the meeting?
My schedule is flexible, so I just have to plan.
Really do have time.
I'll make
during-
it work, as long as I know in advance, I'll schedule around it.
Okay,
Like a 12:30 to 2:30, wait, 12:30, yeah, to 2:30.
well,
And then if you have to pick up kids after school, you could still get there.
Policy typically takes a lot longer, and especially,
I think 12:30.
or are we allowed to do a working lunch? Like, can we, if it's just the three of us, can we do it during the lunchtime, like 11 to 1?
we can certainly start, and then if you can't stay, we can be very flexible.
And this is also.
And
but we also
sometimes they
are
don't
being
last
remote
2
with it. This is
hours.
remote For us, right?
This is remote.
Okay, yeah, that's totally okay, like even 12:30 to 2:30, like you suggested.
And then sometimes it won't go that long, Jim.
Okay,
Yes.
that's very good.
Okay.
12:30 to 2:30, is that the final
Yes.
answer? Okay.
Thank you.
And now we need to move the health and safety with the support staff unit.
So Tuesdays don't work at all, Becky, you said?
Not Tuesday morning or Tuesday lunchtime I could do, but not morning or afternoon.
So that requires a great deal of representation from contractual people, which would leave some voids within the school day. So we should probably look at after school. Because it's really a health and safety committee, including O&M and.
Like
So I
a
don't
3
wanna-
to 5?
We could do a 3 to 5.
I could do 3:30 to 5. I have meetings every day from
I might not
1
be-
to 3 in Ithaca that I mean, so,
So even 3:30 to 4:30.
yeah. I could do
Okay.
3:30 to 4:30 remotely, yeah.
Which committee is this for?
That's for the new one, that's support staff, health and safety. So
Is that-
really being proactive in solving, how do we keep people
Right,
from
didn't I
slipping
get
on
on
wet
that one?
floors?
I think I'm on that one too.
I would guess you might be.
Tina, do you have that?
I want you to be ready.
Becky, did you say?
I have Becky, Dana, Jim on this is community engagement. Sorry, Becky, Randy, and Kimberly on the operations and maintenance, health and safety. So
we say
Rebecca and Randy.
Deanna.
3:30 to 4:30, but what day, Becky?
Tuesday, if you want to keep it on a Tuesday, if it has to stay on a Tuesday.
That'd be great. We were just trying to get all committees to meet within 1 week. That way we can plan, we get the minutes, we can report out at board meetings, so a structured piece of business that happens regularly. Okay. Okay,
Do you want to bounce to community engagement? Is meeting 3 times a school year enough?
I think it would be okay to get every other month, so we could squeeze one more meeting in.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
And when is the best time to meet?
I can do this time.
I can do that time.
I cannot.
Can we do earlier? What time do you start work, Dana?
I have to be there at 7:35.
Yeah, I couldn't do earlier either. I have to drive.
But I guess on the drive-in. Yeah, so it's 7:35 to 3.
You know, community engagement would be fantastic if we actually did that late in the afternoon, that we could actually have some community members.
Do you want to do that
join
before
it.
board
So
meetings?
5 o'clock or
For sure.
4:30.
That sounds great, but right before board meetings would be nice.
Okay.
There's a few,
I can't do that because that's when the community.
We just over.
No, it's actually, that makes it a really long day, because sometimes our board meetings go till 10 o'clock at night. And that's, like, do you think that we could maybe do community engagement at some other time,
Oh, I
like,
see finance and audit, is that fine?
you know, at a time where we could actually have some community members who may want to join us, maybe join us after work or maybe.
I like that idea, Jim. I support that.
I can't hear you. What did you say, Jim?
Later in the day,
Later in the day, like, Kimberly, would you be open to?
after school, so that people from the community can join.
That's like
Sure.
a 5 to 6 or a 6
Yeah,
to
5
7.
to 6 or 6 to 6.
Or 4 to 5, because we also have to be mindful of Kimberly's day as well. She gets here
Oh,
before the rooster, and we don't
we don't mind.
keep her here.
Yeah.
Were we saying on board meeting days? Is that what?
Yeah.
I mean, I
no,
like-
not on board days.
Oh, not board days.
Board days, we have finance and audit, so.
So like a 4 to 5.
Okay. What day of the week? Is still Friday?
That,
A
that's.
Friday? No,
that's
no,
I don't think we can
Sorry.
for that.
not gonna do it.
This is more of a Thursday proposal.
What about Thursday? It looks like Thursdays are never booked.
Thursdays are great.
Thursdays are fantastic.
And it was every other month, right?
Yes,
So Thursdays 4 to 5?
starting in October.
I can do that.
Got it.
So it'd be,
Sharp.
So you want to bounce down to curriculum and instruction, Diane Lynn, Dana Robeson, Joanna Haynes,
So I
Pam
can-
Posa, Kimberly Bell.
it's okay if you can't make them all.
It looks like there's soccer games up. That's the, okay, yeah, that would be the only one I could make.
Pam, do you have a time that works best? I know your schedule is pretty
Okay.
jammed.
I don't know what time they're scheduled for now. Were they in the morning?
They were from 9 to 10. If you, the
Yeah.
email that I sent to administrators with the board links,
Yeah.
the listings are all on there.
But you're saying that Dana can't be there in the morning though, right?
Yeah, that's my conflict.
How about lunchtime, Dana?
I think it's gonna be really hard to commit, just
Okay,
the way the building runs.
okay,
whenever
so what
you're
would
supposed to be.
what would your preference be?
You know, 2:30 I could commit to,
Okay,
probably pretty comfortably.
okay. So you want to do a 2:30 on Fridays at the beginning of each month? The first Friday of each month at 2:30?
Do you want to, wait, do you want to do a 2:30 on the community engagement days so that the two meetings are together? They could meet every, do you want this one to meet every other month, or is 3 times a school year okay?
I think we're going to decide how often they meet at some of these meetings and what the goal of these committees.
Okay. Do you want the first one to be 2:30 on the same Thursday that community engagement is then?
I would. I like them back to back.
Okay.
Tina, just when is the community engagement? It's not a Friday?
It's a Thursday.
Thursday.
That might interrupt with Pam's professional development with staff.
Tough for me after school because I'm with teachers most of the time, but Fridays I'm pretty open. But I can work through it. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
We could even do 3 to 4 and 4 to 5 instead of 2:30. That makes a difference.
So community engagement is from 4 to 5
On Thursday.
on Thursdays. Curriculum
It doesn't
instruction.
happen every week, so let's just go with what works.
Okay. Food service committee, do those work for, let's see, who's on that committee? Jim, Diane, Megan, Rose, Kimberly, John. And food service, the proposal was 3 times a school year from 10 to 11 a.m. First meetings on Friday, the 1st of October.
That's fine for me.
Yes,
Yes.
and then we can discuss if we need to put another meeting in there, if need be.
And I think finance and audit are pretty much set, right?
They were fine with me before.
I think the only outlier was in April, which is on a Tuesday, the 5th, is from 9 to 10 a.m. And that was for finance and audit committee.
Yep, I'm fine with those.
Okay.
Fine, the date is wrong with that one.
CSE, CPSE meetings work for Angie, and those are before board meetings, 5 p.m. twice a school year.
I think that's just me. Is there anyone else on that committee?
Let me look.
When I can, but
Rebecca Baines, Dana Robeson.
What was that one?
CSE.
Oh, yeah, that's all good for me.
Yeah, I can work with that.
Okay.
Kimberly, would you mind giving us a quick statement of what are the board trustees' roles on these committees and who is able to attend the meeting?
So they are advertised and open to the public. And actually, Jim, I'd like to wait and just go through the NISBA handbook and tell you exactly what that definition is, just because I don't have it off the top of my head.
That's perfectly okay, and it's I don't want to speak out of turn here, but it is open to the public, so if there are community members who are interested in these meetings, they are certainly welcome to join and chime in and
Yes, we've often had people attend athletics. That seems to be a popular one. In the past, we've had people attend facilities, especially at the time where we're looking at taking on a new capital project. There's often more interest from the community at that time. So it really depends on what's shared at the board meeting, what some of the goals of those committees will be. So then, the community can weigh in and see if that piques their interest, and then they can join at the advertised times if they're available.
Tina, would you be able to reprint this newly revised schedule?
Yes,
Clear
we'll
as
ask
mud.
Tina.
Can't remember all of that.
We're gonna ask Tina to push out all these dates again.
Slowly.
So I will, everyone's email will blow up probably tomorrow. I apologize in advance.
Thank you very much.
Thank
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Any other points of discussion?
yes, I just wanted to mention that our previous website did have contact information as trustees that it would actually have our email addresses and stuff.
It does.
I think
If
it's
you
always been-
click on the name, if you click on the names on the website, it links to your email address directly.
I just clicked on it and linked to district clerk.
It doesn't, yeah, I tried it.
Okay, also
Actually,
there's,
beginning of last
this
year.
is just, I appreciate the.
So that was streamlined so that board members would all get the same information. I send those as soon as I get them. I forward them to the entire board, just so that nobody's left out of the loop. I email to all of your email addresses, and then everybody can see the email, and the entire board is given the information.
And so I understand that, but it just to think that because we are a board and we act as a board, the decision was that we would all be privy to that information, that if someone writes to the board, we all receive it. if someone just writes individually to one trustee, then it would be upon that trustee to share that. So I think, just to,
Couldn't you set it up, Tina, so that like if somebody were to click on the website and they clicked on Jim Milty's name to send an email, that it would also include all the other trustees at the same time?
I did try to do that and it wouldn't let me set up more than one email address in the
Oh.
hyperlink.
Okay.
with the fellow trustees here, be comfortable with having our telephone numbers added to this Board of Education contact information on the website, so they wouldn't have a way to contact us.
I think they were there at one time too, weren't they?
I think they may have been.
I think your phone number has to be public, so.
I think
But
that's.
but it is, just to say that the comment that we received earlier, looking at our website, those are valid points, and it can be very easily corrected and.
I don't know if people know about phone books, but mine's still in the phone book.
That's what I was gonna
What is that? It's a phone book.
Could we not have a section where it's like email the board and they can click there and it'll be like what Tina gets now, and then just list our email addresses like next to our name, so if people wanted to reach out individually? I see the benefit of her being able to just forward the one like that, but I also think we're not trying to hide, so I feel like.
Could we just say it's trustee and then their last name and then at the school address? Because we all have those email addresses, right?
I think that would be really great.
Yeah.
Or we could just have it listed next to it, the individual email address. As for like the wall calendar where it lists our Board of Education trustees, it shows how long we are trustees, but it would be good to have the contact information on the printed version as well. So there are some people that aren't that tech savvy and it's.
And we did, since you're talking about the calendar, we did have some great constructive feedback about the calendar. So John and I have been in communication. We're going to look at taking those suggestions and putting them into play this school year. Perhaps there'll be a reprint, but we'll first look at cost. But there were some great suggestions.
I think as far as the email, we did make a decision a long time ago, and I mean, it's great to reevaluate how things are seen. I think it is upon us to make sure that all board members are given the same information, so I don't see.
So I
why
think
we
as long
wouldn't
as you
have
make
their
that
email.
agreement here, that if one person just reaches out to Joanna, that then Joanna would make certain to forward it to all board members.
Right.
Because some people may only send things to you, and I know you would forward them on, but I think it's a good friendly reminder to be sure to share that information, whoever receives an individual email.
I think that we should have that as a disclaimer here, saying that if you contact one directly, we act as a board and we will share your correspondence with the entire board. I mean, I don't know why someone would just contact us individually and not expect us to not share that information.
I mean, we could have some, can we have something on that that
You could
says
state
all
that on there.
information is shared with the entire board?
Yes.
So that absolutely, and I think adding phone numbers would be certainly okay. I mean,
I don't want my cell phone number put on the website. I don't either.
How does one contact you if they need to reach you?
They can go through Tina, they could go through my trustee Baines email account, they can go through the whole board. There's lots of ways. I'm not comfortable putting my personal cell phone on a website during these times.
I gotta admit, with all the spam and all that that goes on, it's.
So
unless we all get work cell phones, you know.
John, where's the spreadsheet?
So are we in agreement that next to each trustee's name, we will have the trustee Milty in your school email address, and then we'll add the disclaimer that if one trustee is emailed, they will then share it with all. Okay. And then I'm looking into having the calendar redone with those additions added. And then also it was mentioned this evening to have the floor open to the public at the beginning. And we had discussed that before and we had agreed to that. So that is just an oversight. So if you are in agreement, we will add that both at the beginning and at the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, and I thank Tanya and Maureen for being consistent and attending meetings and giving their feedback. It's great to see some community involvement, so thank you to both of you.
Yep.
But I do want to then still ask a question. If someone wants to call us, because there are some folks who live in Shermansburg in 89 square miles.
They have
that
phone
they don't
numbers.
email. Who can they call?
They can call Tina and she can pass on their phone number to us.
That's true.
Okay, so maybe that in that display, yes, Josh?
So for members who have cell phones who don't wish to publish their personal cell phone number, you can set up a personal Google Voice account, which is an app that you install on your phone. It has its own number, and then it will only receive calls that are directed towards what are published as a board member. You can set it up so it doesn't ring through or notifies you when there's a call. So you can have a second phone number without having a second line on your cell phone plan or publishing your main phone. If you need assistance with that,
Yes.
we use the same thing for the IT help desk.
Yeah. I think that's a good idea because I mean, I'm trying to look for it. I can't find it, but I'm pretty sure that New York State says that we have to have a phone number published as a public.
Phone number or just any contacts, like so with the emails?
I think phone number is like the main one.
So does everyone want to set up their own Google Voice account and we will add that phone number to the website as well?
Josh, are you
Or
available
Randy,
for
you
tech
can
help with
use
that?
your.
I think I already have
my
one.
numbers in the phone.
Okay, and Randy's number.
Yeah, so is this something that maybe I still need to get through the training? Because I do have a little bit of concern, because phone conversations aren't documented in the same way that emails are. And so there's a bit of confidentiality and concern around how that really transpires and what that turns into.
Well, I think the public just needs a way to contact you, but I think the primary is still phone for New York State. We would have to look into it.
I would agree with that though, because so many times something, what is said and what is heard is different. And so if that only goes to one trustee and it's over the phone, you know, I know you're all very conscientious and good listeners. However, you could potentially misinterpret a message. Whereas if all 7 of you are reading the same message, then you can come to this setting and discuss that and you all have the exact same information.
Could we set up just a board phone number for all of us that we can all access?
Tina.
That would be me.
That's Tina.
So I think like,
607
I recall like, why it was important to have separate, or at least have our individual email addresses, because some people may not feel comfortable that information was just being channeled through the district office if they felt like there was a filter there. And so I understand that would be a concern. You know, the best thing we could do is just listen when we go to the SureSafe, because that's like when get built without being bombarded. But of course, we're not going to do that, but people do need to be able to contact us via phone. So we'll figure that out. Hopefully we can have that done by the next meeting, or certainly before this calendar gets revisited.
Just clarification, the Google Voice does have a voicemail box where you could have a default that you ask the person who calls to leave a voicemail. It will document every phone call that comes in and the number that called it. And you can also send text through that as well. So there is a metric there, so you are reachable. You could ask them to leave a voicemail that then gets transcribed, and then you have that documentation. So
I also hate to be the one chiming in yet again, but I did receive a card addressed to me, but certainly not to my home address. It was sent actually to my brother's address. And I was like, we got some mail to my house, and it was related, a community member had shared some thoughts, and it was an unsigned card. But maybe it would be also wise for us to have a mailing address for
It's a school.
For if someone wants to write to us, snail mail, that there is an address care of the district office or something.
That would really be nice as well, and to open that up to even students who might want to address the board in some capacity, and that having an address for them, just their thoughts.
So
on this.
are you saying, so I think in the past that would be attention to the Board of Education, care of the district clerk, 100 Wig Street, so.
Just reminding people that that's the mailing address. is
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Yeah. and
That
not-
is on our website.
Okay, and maybe that's something that we could then just, keep on everything that we print out and have it there. There is a real mailing address because, some of our addresses may be not public.
And I think also, and this may be on the website, I haven't looked at it recently, but just also to remind folks the chain of communication.
Yeah.
So it's important to go to first the person with the conflict and then that person's supervisor if you're not happy, building level, admin, board, whatever the circumstances may be, but. Anything else?
No. All right, so we are adjourning to executive session, correct? And that is for matters
Personnel.
of personnel, let's see. Keep going.
Matters relating to appointment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person, persons, or corporation.
Thank you. The longest one, number
So you
7.
have to narrow it down. You have to be specific. You can't read the whole piece there.
So I think
Matters
it's
relating to,
for discipline.
okay. Of a person or persons?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
All those in favor? Oh, do I need to do?
You need a motion.
Motion, sorry. Thank you, Diane. And a second?
Second.
Jim, all those in favor? We are adjourning and we will not be returning. Thank you.